Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuznos here, and in today's video we're going to talk about the Raptors Rampage buff, if it was a success or failure, and how it affected the economy, because it did have a big effect on some items. If you enjoy videos like this, 70% of you aren't subscribed, so hit that subscribe button for your boy, and let's get into this video because I think it's going to be pretty interesting, and I'm excited to look at these and talk about the future of this buff and some kind of funny things about it. So obviously, if you didn't know, a few weeks back, Jagex came out with the Raptors Rampage event. This event was said on their stream to be an experiment, if you will. They didn't really elaborate on that too much, and it immediately brought me back to sort of the old double drop weekends, a one-time thing that Jagex actually released and then rightly never brought back again. During this time in May 2012, boss drops were able to be doubled, such as KBD, Calphi Queen, Dagnoth Kings, Barrows Brothers, and all God Wars bosses and next. Yes, that's right. Bosses would drop double drops the entire weekend, which was insane. Now, when the Raptors Rampage came out, this sort of kind of reminded me of that. It was a little bit different in sort of a better way. So the Raptors Rampage essentially triples your drop rate of unique items at bosses. It gives you 3 rolls. So if your drop rate is somewhere in the 1 in 25 for a unique, you now get a 3 in 25 chance at that unique. And this could easily be done once per day, so it's not like you could camp triple drop rate for weeks on end. This event lasted until today, and I've seen a wide variety of thoughts from players about it. Now, I personally use this buff every single day, and I didn't receive a unique drop, but I know people that have received multiple rare drops and made a ton of money. Most of you seem to agree that some of you didn't get very lucky with this event. However, based on the economy and the prices of some items, it does seem like others were pretty lucky with this, so I was very interested to see the all-out effect that the Raptors Rampage had on the economy, and how the economy will recover, or if it will recover going forward. So let's dive into some of these stats. So of course, this can be used at basically any boss in the game, but I wanted to compile and check out the most used bosses for this buff. So the main bosses the Raptors buff has most likely been used at because of the great drop rates are hard mode Zuck, the Ambassador, and then Zamark for the bad luck mitigation, and then possibly a 4th next. So let's start with Zuck. This is the main one. Zuck was the main hard mode boss to be used here. Hard mode specifically because the drop rates are so good. Zuck has an extremely low drop rate for items at hard mode, meaning a weapon piece is 1 in 30, Magma Tempest is 1 in 50, Scripture of Full is 1 in 50. This means when using the Raptors buff, I believe you have like a 1 in 7 chance to get either the Magma Tempest or the Scripture of Full. You have an extremely high chance of getting a drop at all for a hard mode kill. People were absolutely just shooting out these drops during this. If we look at some of the hard mode Zuck drops, we can see, for example, Magma Tempest was around 964 mil before this update, and right when the update hit on the GE price, it plummeted to under 800 mil, around 780 mil it says, but it's actually trading for just above 700 mil, which is a pretty steep drop and the lowest Magma Tempest has been in quite a while, if not ever. Now, if we look at the Scripture of Full, it was at 350 mil pretty consistently before the event, and then right after the event started, it plummeted 100 million GP down and is now going for 250 mil, which again is another pretty huge drop. And then of course we have the sword from Zuck, which was around 1.5 bill before this update. It did drop as low as 1.1, 1.2 bill during the update, which is another, again, steep drop. It has started to kind of creep up again, which is interesting. Now, this makes sense, seeing as Zuck hard mode was probably the most used for this, at least the most unique drops gotten, I would guess, was from this. It actually takes quite a while to kill, thus giving such low drop rates, and if you couple this with the Raptors, it made it extremely good for drops. I saw so many broadcasts for Zuck drops, so it makes sense why these would dip so much right now. The question that we'll look at later is, will they eventually recover? So next we have Ambassador, which is another place I saw many people using this buff, and it's where I first started off using the buff as well. This place just seemed to make sense. It was nice because soloing you get a 3 in 55 drop rate for a piece of the Eldritch crossbow, and even PVMers that aren't skilled enough to kill the Ambassador themselves, if they could run the Elite Dungeon, they could still use a Death Touch Dart to activate the Raptors buff and possibly get these pieces. While the ECB was around like 1.5 bill before this event started, it pretty steadily dropped to below 1.2 bill for the crossbow. I ended up making and selling one of these for under 1.2 bill during the event, so a pretty big 300 mil drop in just 2 weeks. Undoubtedly, the Raptors event did seem to cause this crash, but I'm interested to see if this will go up as well. The next two bosses are ones that I alternatively saw people using the buff at, but I'm not sure if they were as prevalent as the first two, or if they could be said to have as much effect as the first two. First, we have Next. For the people that couldn't do ED3 or didn't want to for whatever reason, I did see a lot of people in the comments saying they were using it at Next. Now, if you look at items like the Torva Plate Body or the biggest Next items, you can see a very tiny dip when the Raptors event happened, but I honestly don't think this could be chalked up to, this event. I think this could just be said of the economy in general moving rather than the Raptors event itself. There are so many Next uniques that while people may be getting a lot of Next drops if they use the Raptors Rampage here, it's very unlikely that one item would become extremely effective since there are just so many drops and this event doesn't have as long of a sample size, unlike Zuck. So I didn't really see much effect here. And then finally we have Zamark, which I was interested because this is where I was using my Raptors Rampage the entire time. Zamark is interesting because it has bad luck mitigation, meaning after 10 kills at 100% plus in rage at Zamark, you start earning points for bad luck mitigation. So if I did 10 kills dry and then another 20 kills dry, I would have 30 points. So my drop rate would be minus 20, meaning if I was 30 kills dry, my drop rate would be 1 in 50. My new drop rate with bad luck mitigation would be 1 in 30 minus 20, because you have the first 10 points that you get, or the first 10 kills you do dry, and then you get 20 points from the rest, meaning you could essentially wait until you got really dry at Zamark, got to the 1 in 20 drop rate cap, which is the lowest it can go, then use your Raptors Rampage for a 3 in 20 chance at a rare drop. Now again, Zamark does have a ton of rare drops as well. It doesn't have just like 5 like Zuck, it has a lot more. So I did this the entire time, and I personally never received a drop from Raptors Rampage. Below the Last Guardian did dip a bit during the start of the event, but has now increased pretty much back to where it was, maybe a little bit less. And with new big items like these, this is bound to happen. Most of the Zami items were already dipping a bit before the Raptors Rampage, so again, it's really tough to say if these drops were caused by this event. It's definitely not as clear cut as Zuck or Ambassador. So my big question kind of is, will these recover? I think it's going to be interesting to see in the next few weeks if these items slowly return to their normal price. My best guess would be yes, and that these do sort of recover over the next few months to their initial price, but again, I'm not sure. Something I'm interested to see about this event though is, will Jagex bring it back? What was their idea of it going into it in the first place, and will they try to make it some permanent thing like Reaper Task? I think if this becomes permanent, it would absolutely crush bosses like Zuck and Ambassador in how the Raptors Rampage works right now, where people could easily use this every day for a super good chance at a drop. So I think it's very unlikely to ever become a permanent thing, but you never know. Another joke I made about this, but honestly it wouldn't shock me at this point, with all the MTX coming out and the new MTX that Jagex has slowly crept over the line in doing, what if they included the Raptors buff as a consumable item like the Knowledge Bomb or the Soul Reaper refresh? They put it in Treasure Hunter rarely, so then you could spin keys and rarely earn a Raptors Rampage consumable token like you would do like Death Touch Darts. I think it's very unlikely, I would say, or hope, but I just wanted to put that out there. So in a year, if they do add this to like Treasure Hunter, you guys can look at this video and think that I'm smart. If they never do add it, then well, you won't remember this video at all. But all jokes aside, I did enjoy the Raptors event even with no drops. it did kind of force me to PVM, if you will, which unlike Reaper is something I felt like I could skip, but I felt like I had to be on for this Raptors Rampage event. So in that sense, it did work to get me playing. I'm curious, what are your guys' thoughts on this event? Let me know below. I thought this was kind of an interesting video, and yeah, subscribe for more videos and streams, and like the video to get it out to more people, and I will see you all in the next one. Good luck on your drops.